We now have the information that the person who will likely be buying TikTok, if the Senate passes this bill forcing TikTok to sell, will be none other than former Treasury Secretary, 17-year Goldman Sachs alum, Steve Mnuchin. I'm sure that's who you guys were thinking, like you'd want running TikTok. Like you'd think we're really going to be unbiased. It's going to be legit. We're going to want a real legit social media platform. I'm like, you know what? Former U.S. Empire Treasury Secretary and Goldman Sachs marionette puppet, Steve Mnuchin. I'm sure that's what you thought. I'm sure that's where your mind went. And luckily, it could be happening. Steve Mnuchin has said that he has put together a consortium, a group of investors, which means rich F word. Keep it clean for the kids. And anytime you hear the word investor, it just means douchebag. It means really rich douchebag. You've never heard of like an investor who's like kind of poor and nice, like a nice guy, just kind of poor guy. He's like, yeah, I have $7, but I'm going to put it in there. Well, he's an investor. I mean, by definition, he is an investor. But whenever you hear investors in one of these articles buying up U.S. corporate entities, it just means rich douchebag. You can just read it as that. Former Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, according to the AP, said Thursday that he will put together an investor group to buy TikTok after the House passed a bill that would ban the popular video app because, you know, when the truth starts getting out there too much, ban it. That's freedom, right? We have freedom right here in America. We're free to say whatever we want unless it ends up being too true. And then they get rid of it or they ban it or they sell it to Goldman Sachs. That's freedom right there. Mnuchin, who served under President Trump, said he had spoken to a bunch of people about creating an investor group that would purchase the popular social media company. This should be owned by U.S. businesses, Mnuchin said. Yeah, we're not like China at all. By the way, one of the things Mnuchin said was he goes, well, you know, if there was an American company like this in China, they wouldn't let it operate at all. That's what he said. And this is a perfect impersonation of Steve Mnuchin. They wouldn't let it operate at all. I believe you guys have been saying for a long time that we're supposed to be different than China. Isn't that like your thing? You're like, we're not like China. They censor things. Even though the most famous Chinese dissident in modern times, perhaps, Weiwei, has said that the censorship here in the United States and the West is actually more powerful and more pernicious than in China. But anyway, that aside, I thought we were supposed to be different from them. No. You're saying we should be identical to them. Oh, okay, got it. Also, there's the fact that many U.S. companies make a lot of their money by operating in China. McDonald's, Starbucks, all these large entities, Tesla. I was actually over in China for 4 days this past year. I brought you a video about it. I was there for about 4 days. And you know what I saw everywhere? Teslas, Starbucks, McDonald's. They're everywhere. And of course, non-U.S. companies that are also big, H&M, Zara, they're all there. They're all there because this garbage, xenophobic nationalism, the parasite that is in your brain that is nationalism, it's mainly for us. It's mainly for the average folks to try to in order to dumb us down and make us afraid and scared, hide under our kitchen table. That's what you're easier to control when you're afraid. Meanwhile, all the corporations are like, yeah, we just opened our China store. We just opened our Beijing store. We just opened actually not our China store. We just opened 100 China stores. That's what they like to tell you. But, you know, keep us scared. It's good for that.